propagation doesn't just stop at the end of the year. You can keep propagating most of the time. So what are you going to be propagating in the middle end of October? I'm Rosy Hardy. This is Rosy Hardy Gardening. I'm going to show you what sort of things you can propagate at this time of the year. I'm going to be doing a few things that will be going into plugs trays such as this, and we'll just fill up the trays very, very quickly. This is a seed and cutting compost, so this is quite a nice material to be able to stick in a few bits and pieces. I made a mess there, but don't worry about it. I just cut up these trays so that it means that you haven't got too many, and they fit into a seed tray. That means that they work quite nicely, and you shouldn't get them being too dried out. They shouldn't get too wet either, because the seed tray will hold a little bit of moisture there, even though it's got drainage holes at the bottom. Right, so those are just ready for us to be able to put a few bits and pieces into. We can also utilize some pots as well, and they will be for some of the other types of cuttings that we're going to be doing. So what are we going to look at first? We're going to look at plants that you would be taking top material off, and that will be things such as the saxifrage. So at this time of the year, some of these saxifrages are ready to split. This little saxifrage here is one called Southside Seedling. It's got what are known as pups. Lots and lots of pups here. So these big mature rosettes here will stay, but what you want to be doing is taking off these small little pups at the side here. Now you can either just gently pull them off, which is actually one of the easiest ways of doing it. You can pull them off the side there, and then just thinning out the plant basically, so that you leave yourself with some bigger pups or bigger rosettes in the middle of the thing. You can take some bigger ones if you want to, but the smaller ones are better. And it's just a matter of thinning out and taking a few off the side like so. And then this plant looks a little bit better. It's less congested. You can pot it up at the same time if you want to. That's absolutely no problem at all. These will go back on the nursery because basically we will be potting them up, or we may be splitting them a little bit as well. But what I wanted to really show you was this with the pups here. So we've got the pups here. Some of them have got long bits a lot on them. These, you don't need all of it. Some of it's broken as well. You don't need all of the dead stuff on there, and basically all we're doing is making sure that these will go into the seed trays in the plugs here, no problem at all. And all you really need to do is, this pair of snips that I've got here are a dirty pair, so it doesn't really matter. You use them as your dibber and you put the plant material into the sides like this, and you can do from anything from the slightly larger ones to the slightly smaller ones. They will all, you're just taking a bit of leaf off there, they will all work perfectly well, and you're just literally putting them in to these plugs, and you will then press them in. That's absolutely fine. If they're a little bit too long, then you just cut that bit off and they will all go in there. I'll fill those up, and you can see that we will have a nice tray full of these. These will then go into a frost-free greenhouse. You need to have a frost-free greenhouse for doing this type of thing at this time of the year, and they will just have a little bit of bottom heat. The bottom heat only needs to be somewhere around about 10 to 12 degrees centigrade, and that will then help these get away. You can see already just by putting them in like that, they look fine. The slightly larger ones will do they'll all grow at the same rate, absolutely no problem at all. That would be enough for anybody. You wouldn't really want any more than that. So that is the top cuttings that we do off there. And so they are Saxifraga Southside Seedling. Saxifraga Southside Seedling, as I say, it is pups off the side. Let's just show you what I was trying to take off and show you what the pups are. So we're looking at these pieces here, and we would just pull them off like so. Even the little fine pieces, you can just go round and pull them off, and they come out really easily, really nicely for being able to use. And especially these little pieces, they're the ones that you really want. And then for tidying up, you're basically just pulling off old dead leaf at the base, and you're just tidying these slightly up. Sometimes you don't need to worry. Just take the dark dead leaf off like so. You might want to cut a little bit off like that. Let's just get rid of the rubbish there so you can see what I've done. Literally just a quick tidy up, and that is what you are then going to be putting into the plug trays. So that is the saxifrage. If you are interested in learning more about propagation, then consider looking at my online propagation workshop. I have been running propagation classes for many years and decided it would be good to turn it into something that anyone could access all over the world, and it remains available as a reference material whenever you need it in the year. Check the link in the comments below for how to sign up. Then the other one that I've got that you can take top pieces off is this beautiful Heuchera. This is Heuchera white marble. Now for this purpose you do not need the leaf, so it's really quite easy to just literally snip off all of the large leaf, because you don't need that, and that can just go out of the way on the floor. It also means when you've taken that leaf off, you can actually see what you are doing with the plant. We'll take it out of the pot because again it's going to be a little bit easier to do this out of the pot. What we're looking for from this are really nice little pieces which are round pieces, and you would then just take those off. So here we go, there's a nice piece, so it's a crown like so. So that is what you're looking for. You're looking for something like that, and these would then end up going in exactly the same way as you did with the pups, and you would just carry on going around the plant, taking the side pieces off and putting them into your tray like so, and this way you making really nice basal cuttings. Again, they need exactly the same conditions as you have for your pups of your saxifrage, and that is something that will be really good. I will do a close-up of that. With the Heuchera, we are looking at these lovely growths here. So and you see in here these nice growths here, and it's each individual one of those. Sometimes you can just pull them off, which is absolutely fine, and that is what we're wanting, is something like that. Other times you may need to just cut them off and they come out like that. So that is what we are trying to take off the Heuchera. So we've had two that we are taking top pieces off. Then we have got some other ones which we will be doing slightly different things with, and that is two of them we will be doing root cuttings from Centaurea, root cuttings from Senecio pulcher. Now root cuttings you can do in pots. Doesn't really matter whether your pots are round pots or your pots are square pots, but what you do is you fill your pot so that you've got a bit of space to put the root laying on the top there. I'll do one in a square and one in a round, and then you can see actually it's probably easier in a square pot to do root cuttings because there's a larger surface area to lay the roots on. And what you are going to do is you are going to take the plant out of its container, and then you are going to search for these slightly larger roots like so, and then those are the roots that you are going to be utilizing, you are going to be cutting up, and you are going to be putting onto your actual tops of the pots. And the thicker the root, the slightly better. That is great. Now, if you want to know more and have a bit more in-depth look at propagation, then please do have a look at our propagation workshop where we cover this in much more depth. I'm just literally doing a very quick overview here of what you would do. So once you've got your roots, you don't want the really thin stuff. What you want are pieces that are a reasonable length, somewhere around about 5 to 6 centimeters in length, probably actually a little bit less than that. And you are literally just going to lie them down on the top of the surface like so. And that is all you need to do. These will be going into a frost-free greenhouse as well. And then you will just cover up the top of those so that they don't have light on them, so that they're in the dark, but there is something to breathe from. So that is the Senecio pulcher. You would do that. You would then water that and put it into the frost-free greenhouse. Then we have the Centaurea montana. This has got a lot of much thicker roots on it, and again it's exactly the same situation. You will just take some root, you will cut off, you discard the thinner stuff, take a little bit more of the thicker stuff, and maybe we'll do that. I'm going to leave the really big one because I don't want to use that one. It'll be much better using the slightly finer but the slightly browner stuff, and you know, that is great. You can do this off plants in the ground, so you just lift the plant up, find some nice root, and then you can do it. And again, it's exactly the same thing with the round pot, just laying the plant material or the roots in on the top of here. I will do a close-up of this so that you can see it in detail. And here we go. Again, just put them across like so. But as I say, we go into much more detail of how, why, what you really need to be doing with all of this in our propagation workshop. With the Senecio, we were looking at getting the nice roots. So we would take a nice root like this, and we would cut it off. We would cut it off there, don't need the long bit, and then you would have that which you would cut up into smaller pieces. With the Centaurea, it's exactly the same, but you can see the roots are a slightly different colour. So we'd look for these nice brown roots, we'd pull them as far as we can up into the plant and cut that off. And then you have your root again that you would cut up into nice sections. So it would be snip, that's your Centaurea sections, and your Senecio sections. So you can see the two different roots are different colours. Those are laid onto the surface of the compost. So that is our Senecio pulcher in that one. That is our Centaurea montana in that one. So just tidy up a little bit here. Always make a lovely mess. Don't mind about that. So we've had tops or pups taken off saxifrage. We've had lovely basal clumps taken off the Heuchera, roots off the Centaurea, roots off the Senecio, and then we've got something here called Corydalis Flexiosa. Now this is coming back up into leaf at the moment. Corydalis Flexiosa you do in a slightly different way, because Corydalis Flexiosa runs around and it has lovely top pieces. And what you are going to be doing with this is you're just going to be splitting pieces off. So you will just find a shoot and a piece, and then you just take a shoot and it comes with roots. And this is the beauty of this, it's coming with a bit of root. So you can, if you want to, if they're really big pieces, pot them straight up. But I would recommend, because they're quite small and that's at this time of the year, that you would just put them probably into a seed tray, a little bit apart from each other, and you would just let them grow on. And you can just keep on going. From this plant, you can get so many of these little pieces. We are looking at these lovely pieces here. And you just pull a bit like so, and it comes off with a bit of root. So follow a leaf down, follow a pair of leaves down, and pull. There we go. So that is Corydalis flexuosa, and because it is actively growing at this time of the year, basically what happens with this is it grows up in the autumn, puts on foliage, sits there. Some of this foliage might get knocked back by the frost, but then it keeps on growing right the way through, because this is going to flower in the spring and its leaves are going to be up in the spring. So it will look really good. So you've got quite a lot of different material here that is going to look good. Now you could put these Corydalis flexuosa into these trays as well, and that works perfectly well if that's what you've got. So we could have a few of these just going into this area like so, and there we go, they would work really nicely. So we are going to have in this tray, so we've had a full lot of the pups. In this tray we're going to have six, that's probably enough for anybody, isn't it? 6 Corydalis, and then we will have 6 Heuchera. Actually, as I haven't done as many Heuchera, no, those ones don't look very good. So 6 Corydalis, 6 Heuchera, 12 of the saxifrage in there. They will get watered over the top, then they will go onto a hot bed or a bed underneath. They will then be hand watered, they won't go under the mist. The same with the roots. The roots will go onto the bed which is hot, so they're sitting there, it just gets warm. They will be again watered over the top to start off with, and then watered from underneath so that water goes up. Never kept too wet, otherwise they will rot. That is a great amount of propagation that you can get done at this time of the year. We've done a load here, a small amount of space, a lot more plant material for you. Propagation is a wonderful thing. Enjoy it, have fun with it. It is just something that you just need to try again. If you don't succeed the first time, try again, because that is the best way of going through. And there is so much more that you can keep on propagating through these months while there's still material there. And even when there isn't top growth, then you go into your root cuttings, then you go into your seeds and you start pricking out your seeds and you're sowing your seeds. So much to carry on looking forward to and carry on doing through these late autumn into early winter months. I hope that encourages you to try and keep propagating. Please do look at our propagation course and have fun and enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.